Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Series. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike P. Waworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. 2A Views, conservative news. Craig, guess what day it is?
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
Throw punch Thursday, bitch.
You know what I love about that video?
Yes.
That he comes at him with a left hook. I mean, who starts an engagement with a left hook? You never see a left hook coming out of the blue. Left hook is not the first punch you throw. Perfect,
Well,
just perfect.
It was perfect because evidently, dude was thinking the same thing you were thinking. Who comes at you with a left hook?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, who
and
comes out with the left
evidently,
hook? Yeah.
that guy.
Yep. Check your peaks there, Craig, while we're at it. Make sure we're okay.
Most definitely will. Bringing it down.
There
There we go.
There we go.
A little better?
A little better. There we go. A little better. Here we go.
Excellent. How are we doing today, my friend?
That's Thursday. We're one day into the start of my weekend, so it's going pretty good.
Ah, very nice, very nice. I'm actually looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to an event. It's called a bean feed. So it's like the best chili and beans like competition. And so I'm looking forward to drinking a ton of beer and eating a lot of beans and chili. My wife will not be very happy with me Saturday night.
You're talking chili and beans, not rice and beans.
On one hand you'll have chili. On the other hand, you will have beans.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not a rice and bean festival because I got news for you,
No.
Craig. If it's
Yes.
a rice and bean festival, they'll be serving plenty of ice. It's a trap. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
No, this is going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more akin to the Cracker Festival.
Which is not racist, by the way. Well, via executive order, it's not racist, but it
Via
never was
executive
when it
order.
was racist.
You folks are
A friend of mine
probably
yesterday. For a friend of mine yesterday, we're trying to figure out a day off. He never has any weekdays off. We're trying to figure out a day to get together, and he goes, "Listen, I think the next day off I have is Juneteenth," and I'm like, "Bro, pretty sure that was just eliminated via executive order. I think that's gone. I think it's gone."
It wasn't, but I hear you. I'll tell you, it's funny. We probably already told you all this before. If you watch the show for any period of time, the very first time when I went out to Florida to speak at the 2A Freedom Fest, and we visited the outdoor location where it was in a park, and as we're walking into the park, there was this big, huge banner that said, "Welcome to Cracker Weekend."
Yeah, the best part was we'd been telling him for the week ahead of time it was Cracker Weekend, and he thought we were just joking with him. He thought it was some kind of mild, funny, racist humor. And then he showed up and saw that banner that said Cracker Weekend, and he had to look like, which direction do I run?
So, and now, mind you, this was, first of all, not that I had never been to Florida before, but this was my first time camping in Florida. So it's me, and I'm rooming with or sharing a tent with a dude, Rick Ector, NRA board member, runs an organization called Legally Armed in Detroit. He's been on the show before, but he's a brother from Detroit. And we're both camping for the first time there in Florida, and we walk upon this park, and it is Cracker Weekend. Me being from California, him being from Detroit, Michigan, you can almost see the culture shock over our faces.
Yeah. It was amusing for those watching. Like, you really thought we'd met something different, didn't you?
I really did. I was like, okay, Mike's got to go back to racial sensitivity training. I was like, nope. He was just pointing out what was on the calendar.
Yep. It's on the calendar. It's Cracker Weekend. Cracker Weekend.
Good stuff.
And for those that don't know, for those around the country that don't know, it's tribute to Florida cattle farmers that used to do the drive up and down the peninsula from one piece of property to another, never crossing a roadway. But they were crackers because they used to
Crack
run
the
them with the
whip.
whip.
Yes.
They would crack the whip, and the cows would keep going. They didn't hit the cows. They would just crack the whip, and the cows were afraid of it, and they would keep walking. That was Cracker
And
Festival.
And for those of you watching in Florida who do not understand the racial implications, keep in mind I grew up in Richmond, California. Didn't know a whole lot about the South. Not that I hadn't been there, but wasn't real familiar. All I knew was my father, who was a World War II veteran. All I know is that when he was using an epithet referring to those of the Caucasian persuasion, cracker was the term often used.
Let's be clear. That's only part of it. The whole term is cracker ass cracker.
Yeah. Now that's Chris Rock. That's Chris Rock right there. But anyway, so for me, it was hilarious. I knew nothing about the historical context of crackers. So now that I know, it does not make it any less humorous, but it does make it less offensive.
You know, it's funny, Craig, because you're an outdoorsman. You know, you do enjoy that kind of stuff. If you move to Florida, you could become a Florida cracker.
I could become a Florida cracker.
Yeah.
Hey, there is a book written by Thomas Sowell. It's called what's it called? White
Cracker-ass
Liberals
cracker.
and it's Black Rednecks.
Okay.
It is a book that
Gotcha.
refers to black rednecks. So, and we got some of those out here. But anyway, I digress. Oh, we got some good news for you, some good stories for you today we're going to get into. But before we do, we got to do what we do, and that is pay the bills. So before we get into it, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our
Guess
sponsors.
what day it is? Guess what?
Why do I keep doing that? I was like already.
Really?
See, that's what happened. You distracted me.
It's because you're retarded.
It's because I'm retarded. That is not a safe word anymore. Was that included in the whole removal of DEI? Can you say retarded now?
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. We
It's
can
no
say
longer a
that.
dirty. It's
We
no
used to
longer
have-
retarded is no longer a dirty word.
We used to have to hide it and say they were two coats. Two coats
Two
strong.
coach,
Remember?
two coach strong. I remember we had this conversation about two coach
Yeah,
strong.
two coats strong. Because like when folks, if you ever blacktop your driveway, you put down one coat and it's not quite thick enough, so you put down a second coat, and that was called retard. You'd have to
Yes.
retar your driveway. So
Mhm.
you would look at somebody and go, "He's two coats strong. He's two coats strong."
He's two coach strong.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Go ahead, Mike. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you want to get yourself some AR barrels, this is the place to do it. They've got pistol caliber, rifle caliber, any length you desire for your next AR rifle or pistol build. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fight good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you got a big group of organization out there and you're looking for some field gear, tactical gear, web gear, military, law enforcement, fire, whatever it is, you can get everything except a gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. And also want to remind you, coming up on the 22nd, that's right, the 22nd in Summerfield, Florida, at Runaway Campers, we've got 2A Freedom Fest, where we're going to have 2A speakers, Second Amendment advocacy speakers, folks from the media, folks from the industry, folks who are going to be there to talk about law and legislation. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to be talking about the right to keep and bear arms. Want to encourage you to come on out. It is a camping event, so if you want to come on out and hang out with some of the folks who are going to be speaking, you can stay there Friday night and Saturday night. Go to 2afreedomfestival.com. That's 2afreedomfestival.com. Check it out today. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see you there. Also want to encourage you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like the first 3 years we were there, I thought it was runway campers. Remember, I'm a pilot.
Yes.
And I was like, what do campers have to do with runways? I have no idea.
I don't know, but camping on a runway is a bad idea.
No bueno. Yeah.
No bueno. Definitely no bueno. No camping on the runway.
No. Yeah, it wasn't until like this year I figured out it was runaway.
Runaway.
Campers, not
Yeah.
runway.
Run away from the runway if you are camping.
Well, it's I don't know about you in California. I found out 2 more words this week that I still pronounce wrong living in Florida. as opposed to back home from New York. So runway, I guess, is another one of those words I add to the list.
Runway or run away?
Well, I guess we say them so quick they sound similar in New York. So
Well,
like that,
I get that.
That boy, he done runway.
There you go. Well, hey, I hear you. I hear you.
Yep.
I see where that can be confusing. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's news stories. As we've talked about many, many times, Trump continues to just win. And it's funny because there's no other really way to put it or to think about it or talk about it. It's just literally we have a president who's killing it and literally killing it. And we're referring to it as, I'm referring to it as the Trump effect. A lot of people are referring to it as the Trump effect. But one of the things that we are noticing is really a positive move in a couple of different areas. And quite frankly, moves and positive moves that have been happening and are occurring even before he became the president of the United States. One of those has to do with Army recruitment in particular. According to Pete Hegseth, our defense secretary, Army recruitment has hit a 1 month high, a 1 month high that is greater than it had been in the last 15 years. And here's a report that's being done by the folks over at Straight Arrow News talking a little bit about it.
Army recruitment has reached its highest level in 15 years. That's according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, posting the news on X. Hegseth wrote, in December 2024, the U.S. Army had its best recruiting number in 12 years. In January 2025, the Army hit its best recruiting number in 15 years. The U.S. Army reported nearly 350 new soldiers were enlisted daily in the month of December. This comes after the military has faced recruitment shortfalls in recent years. In 2022, the Army missed its 60,000 enlistment target by 15,000. In 2023, the Army missed its 65,000 enlistment target by 15,000. But in 2024, the Army met its 55,000 enlistment target. The Army announcing last month it expects to hit its recruitment goal for 2025 and then some. The branch believes it will bring in more than 81,000 individuals this year, including 61,000 soldiers and 20,000 recruits through the delayed entry program of 2026.
All right, now, Mike, something significant happened between November of 2024 when they were not even close to when they weren't hitting their numbers, and December of 2024 when all of a sudden they hit a 12-year high, and then January of 2025 when they hit a 15-year high. Do you have any idea what might have happened that might contribute to what it is that we are referring to?
The Mets signed Juan Soto to a long-term deal. Boom, just like that. Just like that.
I don't think that was it.
No? All right. Sorry, I'm lost.
That did happen, I believe. I believe that did happen. But causality and correlation and causality, two different things.
Yeah.
That's it. I do believe we elected a new president.
We did. Well, no, we elected an old president again.
Well, an old president again. There you go. Old things become new.
We brought him back. We brought him back is what we did. Yeah,
we did. We brought him back. And with him, I think we brought a whole brand new attitude, especially now. This is going to seem kind of odd, right? This is going to seem kind of weird, but you would think that, if you're going to recruit people, you would think that you would probably want to run commercials that would probably reach out and encourage them to actually want to join, right? Yesterday, as a part of our parting shots, there were a couple of examples of recruiting commercials that I played that I wanted to show you the difference in the before and the after. And because you weren't here, Mike, I want to go ahead and I want to play those again because I want folks to, I want you to comment on the difference between the two. And I realize there's probably not a lot of difference between the two. But just in case, I wanted to get your take on it. So let me go ahead and run these. I'm going to just run them back to back this time, no commentary in between, and then we'll let you comment on the flip side.
Girl raised by two moms. Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures, my own challenge. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way.
Iron sharpens iron. So one man sharpens another.
Not far from here on the hallowed grounds of Fort Liberty near the intersection of Rock, Merritt, and Ardennes, etched into the green marble is a quote from the 35th President of the United States. And it reads that the Green Beret is again becoming a symbol of excellence, a badge of courage, and a mark of distinction in the fight for freedom. President Kennedy also challenged us and challenged our nation to go to the moon, not because it was easy, but because it was hard. I talk a lot about an article I read a while ago in which the author wrote about how today's youth, well, they're lazy. They're lazy in language and communication. They don't seek hard work, nor have the endurance to see it through. They are nor gritty or resolute, and they lack ambition. That article was from an op-ed in the 1938 edition of the Chicago Tribune. The youth the author talked about went on to parachute behind enemy lines in France and stormed beaches like Omaha and Utah, ultimately becoming the greatest generation. And as great as that generation was, I believe that your generation can be even greater.
Do you notice a difference between the two?
Yeah, we got an hour to discuss them. Listen, I think you and I have said on here many times, whether you're LGBTP, whatever it is, or a minority, or whatever it happens to be, I mean, I think we're cool with you. I don't have any issues with that. The problem comes when you try to force it down our throats, and that was where we were with that ad. I mean, Craig, how many times do I have to watch, 4 or 5 commercials during a commercial break on TV, and it's 99% LGBT or minority, and I've got to deal with that. Yeah, just enough. All right. We're done with it. We get it. All right. Just move on. Be normal like the rest of us. And I mean, be normal. Like, don't throw it in everybody's face. If your normal is LGBT, well, then go do that. Leave the rest of us alone. We're cool with you. You don't have to force it down. It's like dealing with somebody that does CrossFit. All right. You do CrossFit. I need to know it every 12 seconds. You do CrossFit. Okay. Or vegans, for crying out loud. We're done with it. As opposed to the newer commercial where it is clearly about about pride and duty and honor and integrity and all of the key fighting words you're looking for. I'll give you a little quick history in there about President Kennedy. Many people may not know. Now remember, he served in the Navy in World War II. He was Lieutenant John Kennedy on I think it was PT 107, and it was small boats in the South Pacific. He was Navy Special Ops before there was Navy Special Ops. He would have been what was known as the SEAL boat team. All right,
oh, wow.
Not in the water guy, but the guy that puts you into places, that takes you on the boat. and takes you in there and then does the shooting and the killing and the moving. His relationship with Green Berets is an odd story, a very quick story. The PT boat commanders, to certify that they were different than other Navy officers, used to take the stiffener out of their round caps, and they wore those during the duty day while on the boats. So they had that crush cap appearance like a Air Corps bomber pilot. And when the Green Berets, they were first Special Forces, when they first adopted the Green Beret, old school airborne people, bosses said they couldn't have those berets, they weren't regulation. And President Kennedy came along at one of their ceremonies and said, "Where's their Green Berets? I liked those." And that was it. Generals couldn't fight it anymore. He said, "They're different, they're special, let them wear their hat, it gives them esprit de corps."
Wow. See, now that's why I wanted to make sure to share that with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, one is talking about focusing on differences, and the other is talking about a unified purpose. And that's the thing, when Hegseth said, look, the idea, when someone said in the military that our diversity is our strength, it was the biggest crock. It's our unity. It's our unity of purpose. It's the fact that despite our differences, we can come together and be unified in our purpose, in our goals, and in what we do. And by doing so, by being unified, we can be successful. And it's that unity. And by the way, that challenge that draws people in. Those are the people who are attracted to military service. And that's why recruitment is up. Recruitment is up because as soon as they saw that someone who believed in America was president, someone who was going to make sure that we weren't in unnecessary military conflicts was going to be president, people decide someone who's going to respect the military. That's when people are like, okay, now's the time to get down.
Yep. Yeah. Very well said. Very well said.
Anyway, excellent stuff. I'm glad I had an opportunity to share that with you. But, Mike, that's not the only place where we are having big time success. We're also seeing a lot of success when it comes to, blue collar jobs. Guess what? A lot of folks voted for the president because they knew he was going to work to, make blue collar jobs great again here in the United States. And I love this. The Trump effect, manufacturing bounces back. It says here, President Trump's inauguration has led to a surge in optimism and demand in the manufacturing sector. The S&P Global Purchasing Managers Index for U.S. manufacturers recorded not just a surge in confidence about the future, but also a return to growth for new orders and output. The index itself moved into positive territory for the first time in 7 months, indicating expansion for the factory sector. New business orders improved for the first time since last June, according to the report released this week. This reflects improved consumer confidence in the economy, fueling rising demand, according to S&P Global. What a lot of people don't understand is that one of the biggest things that the government can do is, number one, get out of the way of the economy, and number two, promote promote confidence. Give people in business a reason to believe that I can take those chances, that I can expand my business, that I can go out there, that government is not going to be my enemy, right? That's what he's done. And people are responding. And by the way, that was done before he signed one executive order. All he had to do was say, so let it be written, so let it be done.
Consumer confidence. That's the term you're looking for. He's
yes.
Instilled consumer confidence. Anytime I see a story like this, Craig, it makes me think back to one of my favorite President Obama quotes. There's no magic wand that's going to bring back manufacturing. Well, there is, and he's got a big head of orange hair.
Bippity boppity boop. Yeah, it's. And once again, the thing that shows though that this is true is if you look back, one of the biggest issues that people had was lack of faith in the economy, And that's why they didn't have faith that Joe Biden wouldn't do something to screw up the economy. And they had good reason to believe that because he had already screwed up the economy.
Yeah, he did. Although I understand he did good with the Ukrainian economy. I think that went well. So.
Well, more the Ukrainian government sector. He increased spending amongst government elected officials.
It's true. Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. The prosecutors there got a big raise during his time. So, yeah.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But I don't know. Like I said, and I will continue to say, attitude matters. And the one thing people can say about Donald Trump is a lot of people complain they don't like the fact that he's cocky. But I'm like, you know what? It works. Obviously, the American people respond. The economy has responded. Our enemies, those who would seek to do us harm or seek to harm us on the battlefield, it's working with them as well. I mean, everybody's like, I don't want to mess with Donald Trump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have we talked about Gaza yet? Are we doing that today or tomorrow?
We have not talked about Gaza, but if you want to go ahead and throw that in, man, we got a little time.
Let's do that tomorrow. Let's do Gaza tomorrow.
Okay,
We'll talk about the world's impression of President Trump during Gaza tomorrow.
the world's oppression or impression?
Impression.
The world's impression. Okay. Yeah. The world's oppression of Donald Trump, or, prosecution versus persecution. Yeah. That was largely the Democrats and the media. And that ended as of Election Day, although they're still trying.
Oh, yeah. Every day. Yeah. Go CBS.
Day. They are trying, but
Yep.
They are trying and failing. Now, you might recall one of the biggest moments during the campaign was when people started talking about, or when the Trump campaign started talking about the takeover of an apartment complex there in Aurora, Colorado. Well, now that there are ICE raids taking place in Colorado, let's just say that it's leaving a lasting impact, and people are taking notice.
Wednesday morning, federal agencies teamed up to swarm several Denver metro apartment complexes.
Any drugs in the house? Can we come in and check?
The ICE Denver office said more than 100 members of the Venezuelan prison gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA, were targeted in the raids led by Homeland Security Investigations. Our cameras on scene saw several people detained and taken away. We've learned agents made more than a dozen arrests.
I'm finally glad somebody's doing something about this.
These actions were targeted operation focused on violent criminal aliens, TDA members, and those who are a threat to our public safety.
So ICE basically, and this is a continuation of the story, once again over there from the Washington Free Beacon. It says ICE raids infamous Colorado apartments overrun by Venezuelan gang accused of torturing residents. I didn't even know they were torturing residents. That was a new one to me. Anyway, Immigration and Customs Enforcement raided apartments in the Denver metro area early Wednesday morning, including a complex that became nationally infamous over the presence of Venezuelan prison gang Tren de Agua. Quote, 100 plus members of the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua were targeted for arrest and detention in Aurora, Colorado today by ICE and its partners. ICE's Denver office posted Wednesday on X, listing several federal agencies that assisted in the raids. The Drug Enforcement Administration's Rocky Mountain Division posted a video earlier in the day showing agents deploying what appears to be flash smoke grenades. Law enforcement was seen knocking on doors looking for illegal immigrants, the Denver Post reported. Agents were spotted loading apprehended detainees on a bus. The targeted apartments include Whispering Pines, Cedar Run, and Edge of Lowry in Aurora, the complex that spurred the national debate over whether it was controlled by Tren de Agua. Now, the reason why I wanted to make sure to go ahead and talk a little bit about this, Mike, is because if you read or you only listen to the reports by the liberal media, you would swear, well, they're targeting non-violent or non-criminal aliens, and It's like they completely forget what has been said by the president, what has been said by Tom Homan, the border czar, what has been said by the White House spokesperson, and that is that they are targeting criminals, and in particular violent criminals who are here in this country. But if they come across someone who's here illegally, they're going to be detained as well. Because guess what? If you violated our immigration laws by either entering the country illegally or overstaying your visa illegally, then you have committed a crime. What do we call those, Mike, who commit crimes?
We call them criminals.
That's a new that's a new term, isn't it? I mean, it does not sound familiar at all. I thought only, Republicans were criminals.
No, you got criminals and then you got smooth criminals. Remember, there's a difference, right? Criminals and smooth criminal.
Smooth criminal.
It's like going fishing, Craig. Man, I'm gonna go catch me some catfish. I'm gonna get all the catfish I can get, and then you pull out 3 catfish, and you also get a bass in there. You know what you do with the bass? You eat that one too.
You eat it.
You eat it too. You don't throw it back. You eat that one too. That's what you do.
It ain't rocket science. It ain't hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Here's a clue. Let me just give you all a clue. If you are here illegally, if you came here illegally, you violated the law. You need to figure that out. There's a problem. I mean, I hate to say this, and then it's interesting that you have folks on the left who want us to act like something horrible is being done by enforcing our laws.
Something is being done enforcing our laws. Consumer confidence, national security, recruiting in the military, manufacturing jobs up. Oh, there's plenty happening, Craig. Plenty happening.
If I were Democrats right now, what I would be doing is I would be beating down the president's door. Right now, I'd be like, look, all right, President, look, let's come up with some sort of a deal on immigration. Because I happen to believe that President Trump, if he could get the wall built, or like serious border security, serious enforcement of immigration, and support from Democrats to get rid of the criminal illegal aliens, those who recently entered our country illegally, and those who committed crimes before and since they came to this country, getting them out. I believe that Donald Trump would cut a deal for those who've been in the country for a certain period of time, to help them on a pathway to legal residency. I believe he would do that because he believes in cutting deals.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say this because we're talking about the ICE raids, right? In Vietnam, our soldiers started playing music when they would go out and do raids or try to create confusion. What you do is you'd play loud music, to disturb the enemy's normal thought process. You'd throw something at them they didn't expect. You've seen Apocalypse Now, them playing Flight of the Valkyries from the helicopters as they're flying through. In Panama, when the Panama invasion, they played hard rock music, there at the airport, try to just disrupt everything that was going on. It worked wonderfully. In Afghanistan, on our trucks, we used to play Beastie Boys Sabotage when we jump out on raids. So Sabotage would be rolling, and the Afghans would be like, I have no idea what's going on. If these guys from ICE are not rolling out of those trucks with Vanilla Ice playing Ice Ice Baby, they're wrong completely. They need to be playing that music and watching everybody just panic.
Well, you know what is actually though happening at some of that on Monday. They had the day without an immigrant protests or the rallies and protests, and people taking the day off. Well, so you had people who were driving up to those protests and those rallies and those marches, and that's exactly what they were playing, Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, and it made it easier for them too because they had a group of people to go just check now.
It's
we
like,
appreciate
okay,
you assembling like this for us.
If you are here illegally, that is. How about this? Just a clue. If you are an undocumented or an illegal immigrant, whatever you want to call it, here in this country, and you do not wish to be caught, don't go to a day without an immigrant rally while waving a Mexican flag and burning an American flag. that's probably a pretty good pretty good sign. That's going to get you some attention.
I mean, listen, at this point, if you're here illegally, I wouldn't even go to Taco Bell. I mean, you want to steer clear from any stereotype possible where ICE may show up.
No self-respecting Latino would go to Taco Bell or be seen at Taco Bell.
Well, yeah, but we are talking about white guys trying to figure that out. They don't understand.
There you go. Okay, good point. Yeah. All right, wanted to tell you a little bit today. I ran across a piece by our good friend Mr. Tom Knighton over at Bearing Arms, and it's talking about how Bloomberg Law has actually taken notice of an organization that we are very, very good friends with, that I've done a lot of work with, the Firearms Policy Coalition. And I just wanted to bring some attention to his piece because, you know, it was really FPC that brought Mike and I together, you know, just because, you know, they're our type of, FPC is our type of folks. And it says here, the Firearms Policy Coalition is a unique voice in social media for gun rights. X, formerly Twitter, they're aggressive. Or they're trying to be coy here. They're aggressive. What I mean is that they won't blink about telling someone to perform anatomically improbable sexual acts upon their own person because they're pushing an anti-gun agenda. That's the F you know thing. They'll do it rather publicly, and quite often they make it amusing. And so they noted in this piece that I guess the folks over Bloomberg Law wrote something up about him. It said, in barely a decade, a Nevada-based group has emerged as a relentless gun rights litigant, challenging laws and regulations in at least 90 cases across 20 states. The organization, the Firearms Policy Coalition, has battled assault weapons bans, defended a third grader's right to wear a hat in school adorned with an image of a semi-automatic rifle, and challenged licensing age restrictions. It also boosted its membership and its coffers with a bombastic online campaign that regularly fires four-letter vulgarities at critics and opponents regardless of their political affiliation, meaning they go after anti-gun Republicans or Democrats. Its leader, Brandon Combs, is a California millennial who calls the AR-15 America's rifle, fondly recalling purchasing the semi-automatic assault weapon. Yeah, we don't call it that. But anyway, this is Bloomberg Law. Anyway, these days, the coalition claims more than 310,000 social media followers. That's actually down. Wow, okay. And saw its annual revenue swell to $8 million in 2023 as it focused almost exclusively on litigation. Now, many of you may know I started with the Firearms Policy Coalition I was there from the very beginning, when it didn't exist, and quickly went up to an organization that is now, I would say, probably the third largest, if not the third most influential gun rights organization in the country. Obviously, I would say that obviously NRA is number one. Second Amendment Foundation is number two, and I'd say GOA and FPC have been kind of battling for that number three spot, and GOA is doing a phenomenal job as well. But what I've always loved about FPC is that it is exclusive gun rights. It is, whether you are right wing or left wing, whether you are Republican, Democrat, Green Party, or Libertarian, whether you are gay, straight, LGBTQ, plus minus sign, divided sign. They are a group that's all gun rights all the time. And that's what they focus on, and they do it unashamedly. And that's what always attracted me to FPC. So seeing this and seeing them get their due, in particular from a policy enemy like Bloomberg Law, I thought was a pretty big deal.
It is. And I will partially disagree with you, Craig, and say that the top three organizations are Second Amendment Foundation, FPC, and GOA in no particular order. NRA, I believe, has fallen into fourth place because get your own house together and then we'll have a conversation. You might have the numbers, but people are not paying attention. Now, the anti-gun people think NRA is still number one, but those of us in the biz, those of us behind baseball here, we inside baseball, We know that they are not. We know
That
that
is
it's
true.
SAF, FPC, and GOA that are the top three dogs in the fight.
Exactly.
And how
Exactly.
about Tom Knighton? Little pat on the back for Tom Knighton there, dropping one of Shaggy's word, Mr. Bombastic. All right, there we go. Thank you, Tom.
Mr. Bombastic. I actually appreciate his description of their F You Know campaign.
Yes.
And they don't say F, by the way.
Yeah.
It's more like Duck You Know.
I'm fantastic. You can
But
hear
yeah,
Shaggy's voice singing Bombastic. You can hear it.
I don't have my auto-tunes thing.
That's not
But
auto-tune.
yeah.
That's not auto-tune. He was a Marine. That voice he uses, he's emulating his drill instructors when he does that voice.
Really?
Yes.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, all I want to say is, folks, if you are not a member or if you have not donated to FBC, you need to. You'll find them at firearmspolicy.org. That's firearmspolicy.org. Go there, check them out. They started off doing mostly, we started off doing mostly legislation, and fighting legislation. And quite frankly, realized that a lot of the differences, a lot of the changes, a lot of things that were happening, the permanent victories, the victories that are lasting were happening in court. So they got into litigation, and they made a huge shift towards litigation just before Bruen. And all of a sudden, when Bruen came down, they were prepared, and they like have a printing machine where they print their lawsuits, and they're going after everybody. They're suing school districts, they're suing cities, they're suing counties, they're suing states, they're suing the federal government. If you are violating our right to keep and bear arms, they're coming after you. So anyway, good group to be affiliated with.
We talked to their chief legal counsel or their director of legal affairs or president of legal affairs, I think is his title. This is as of 2 weeks ago while we were at SHOT Show. Currently have 64 current active lawsuits out there against anti-gun laws.
That's a lot, folks. That's a lot. Anyway, good friends and good folks. Check them out today, firearmspolicy.org. Brandon, thank you you're welcome for the free commercial. All right, that brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, you might recall that Donald Trump, we talked about this yesterday, Donald Trump signed an executive order banning men from participating in women's sports, in particular at the collegiate and high school level. This one brought to you by the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can count on. Liberals outraged as Trump says men can't punch women in the face for sport.
Yeah. Mr. Johnson, it's time to get out of the women's pool.
There you go. Exactly. And you might also know, we've talked about this also, that Kash Patel, his hearings went rather well, and he actually wound up, he got out of committee. So he's likely going to wind up to be our next FBI director, although the vote has been delayed, according to the Babylon Bee. Says Democrats delay Kash Patel's vote as FBI hasn't finished shredding all their documents.
I kept waiting during his hearings for him to say, I'm sorry, Senator. I don't care what you say. You just go away. Next. Next.
Right. You don't have to go away mad. You just have to go away.
Yeah. You're on the list, buddy.
You are on the list. We will be visiting you, shall we say?
Yes.
Anyway, and then this last one. Now, there is a new press secretary, and she is doing an awesome job. I literally, in the 2 weeks she's been doing this, I only had one small critique, but overall she's just been killing it. One of the things though that I've come to know is Donald Trump has taken a particular interest in making sure to consult her on how to make sure that she has his true voice when communicating. Whether it's from the podium or whether it's on social media. Here you see the two of them conferring as he hopes her to understand how to appropriately communicate via Twitter. It says, no, it's spelled DEEZ, not D's. Yes. Yeah, then nuts. Perfect. Okay, post it.
That's it. There you go. These nuts. Yep. I sent you another picture, Craig. It was it came up during the show. You gotta post that one up. It's not quite D's nuts funny, but it's good. It's a pretty good one.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. Here we go. And there we go. Nobody voted for Elon, MAGA. How many primaries did Kamala win again? Okay, that is almost D's nuts funny. In fact, I am going to be sending that to a few people who are angry about Elon Musk. I'm going to be using it's at a point now, man, with some of these folks, they are just so outrageous. It's like trolling them is so easy. You can't debate them because they're not interested in actually talking facts or anything like that. They're just angry. So trolling them right back is the only real way to truly, fully enjoy the communication.
Yes. Yeah, it's you know, you gotta smack it back at them. There you go.
Gotta smack it back at them. Look,
yeah.
we put up with y'all for 4 years.
Yep.
So we get at least a few weeks.
Oh yeah.
All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the program. But before we go, we got one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR, you probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct for your next AR build or AR rebarrel your platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you're a dealer, if you're a gun store and you want to get some stock on the shelves for tactical gear, field gear, military gear, law enforcement gear, give these guys a call at uscombatgear.com where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. If you want to find out how to reach them, just follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a show. We're going to call it a day, and we will be back tomorrow on Free For All Friday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and if you get a chance, send a few downrange. We'll holler at you later.